The biographical narrative of James Firestine. James Firestine was born on December 16, 1947, in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. He is currently married to Kathy Firestine. They have been married for 46 years. They have one son and one daughter. He enrolled in the United States Air Force and achieved the highest rank of Staff Sergeant. He attended Elko High School and worked until he was 18. After graduation, he decided to enroll in the United States Air Force. When there, he participated in the Vietnam War. His family did not object to him enrolling, but encouraged it. He did have some family members that served in the Air Force. His father served in the Air Force and served in World War II. Mr. Firestein's basic training took place in Texas. From there, he went to California and then was shipped overseas. His highest rank was Staff Sergeant. He did move up in rank very fast, and this to him was a motivation to continue serving. His basic training took him 6 months to complete, but had to serve in many places before getting to Vietnam. Mr. Firestine described his basic training as very easy. It was just a little bit harder than what he was used to back in Pennsylvania. The training taught him how to work with ammunitions and explosives. During his basic training, he did not have much free time, if any. He tells us that there was work to do all day. His daily life was like this. I woke up, ate breakfast, went to the bomb bay, then head to the factory and work there all day. But when he did have any free time, he spent it either resting or talking to friends.
Because of his field as a munitions and explosives specialist, he was almost always in danger of getting shelled by the enemy or working with bombs. If he or his unit made one mistake, they could have all died. Mr. Firestine said that military life is way different from civilized life. He had to get used to getting up early and getting prepared if under attack. He had to get used to the terrible food and learn how to take orders from other people. He was stationed in Phang Bang, Vietnam, and traveled a lot to receive orders from Allied forces. He worked every day of the week for about 1 to 2 weeks. Then he would have a 1 to 2 week rest period. While on one of his rest periods, he met one of his old friends who was in the Army. They went to a club to catch up on old things. He still stays in contact with his friend today. While deployed, he did not see any action. He was in the factory for most of the day. The only action he would have seen would have been when he went to receive shipments. The bombs were made in the United States but were assembled in Vietnam. During his deployment, the one job that he had was to work on munitions and explosives. He might have helped out with other jobs, but as a main job, that was the only one which was also his MOS. Being in the work field of munitions and explosive was always a dangerous job. If one explosive was accidentally set off, a chain reaction would then go off, and most likely half of the base could have been knocked out. Depending on how many bombs and explosives went off, it could have taken out the whole base.
While he was deployed, he communicated with his family mostly through letters. He wrote a letter a day but kept them short. During that time period, the internet was not around. Telephone was practically no use because he was in the middle of a war, and most of the phone lines would have been wiped out, or they were not in circulation. During his free time, he had the opportunity to travel to many different places. During one of his short breaks, he met up with one of his old friends that enrolled in the Army. They went to a club and got a few alcoholic beverages and caught up on things. He still keeps in touch with him today. He was deployed in the 435th Munitions Maintenance Squadron, which was stationed in Phan Rang Air Base, Vietnam. He was stationed there for 1 year. He had a good employment there and wished that he would have stayed in the Air Force. The first time he came back to Pennsylvania for a 2-week break, it was hard for him to readjust to civilian life. Then when he had to head back to Vietnam, it took him even longer to readjust because he was so used to peaceful life.
Mr. Firestine had served for 4 years but was only in action for 1 year, and that was when he served in Vietnam. With all of the things that had happened to him in his service, he wished that he could have stayed in for his 20-year term. He received a few medals, but the only notable medal was the Air Force Accommodation Medal. All of his other medals were little medals that he served in Vietnam. He felt the awards were nice, but the true reward was knowing that he did good for his
Air Force
country.
Commendation Medal certificate I received. To the right of it is the medal itself. Here's a picture of a full bird colonel presenting the medal to me for the Air Force Commendation Medal. It was accompanied by a citation that read, "Citation to accompany award of the Air Force Commendation Medal of James R. Firestine. Airman 2nd Class James R. Firestine distinguished himself by meritorious service as crew chief in charge of firebomb mixing crew. Munitions Maintenance Storage Branch, 435th Munitions Maintenance Squadron, Phan Rang Air Base, Republic of Vietnam, from 4 September 66 to 29 July 67. During this period, Airman Firestine's outstanding professional skill and initiative aided measurably in identifying and solving numerous problems encountered in the accomplishment of his duties. The energetic application of his knowledge has played a significant role in contributing to the success of the United States Air Force mission in Southeast Asia. The distinctive accomplishments of Airman Firestine reflect credit upon himself and the United States Air Force."